Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally back with a new tutorial, and today is going to be a prom inspired look because prom season is right around the corner and she's actually going to prom this year. So let's jump into this tutorial. I actually did one eye off camera first just so I knew what I was doing, and I actually like doing it, so going forward my tutorials will be like this. So yeah. And I'm taking my Absolute New York brow pencil and I'm using the shade Smoke. I only use the shade Smoke, you guys. I don't use any other color. I'm seeing DMs and comments about this. I only use Smoke. I've only ever shown Smoke. So yeah, that's what I'm using to shape out her brow. So this part is pretty self-explanatory, but if you do want a more detailed video on how I do brows on my clients, then I'll link that video down below because I do have a tutorial on that. But I'm just using the brow pencil to lightly fill in her eyebrows. And then I'm going to take MAC's concealer, and I'm using the shade NC50. I'm taking my Morphe 224 brush, and I'm going to use that to shape out her brow. If you find you have an issue with precision when you're sculpting out the eyebrows, don't be afraid to use your hands as anchors, whether you're resting your hand on her cheek or if you have your hand placed on her forehead. Don't be afraid to use your hand to make sure that everything is nice and steady when you're doing this part. I'm also taking my Beige Cosmetics blending brush. I'm using the V5 blending brush to blend out the concealer around her eyebrows. And keep in mind that when I blend in my concealer, I'm tapping and pressing the concealer into her skin. I'm not doing circular motions, I'm not wiping, I'm tapping it in underneath her eye. So what you're going to see me doing next is just bringing her arch down a bit lower because this brow was just naturally higher. So I'm just bringing that down a little bit. Now I'm taking my PLouise base and I'm using shade number 3. I'm not using a lot of this, of course, because the color is very different than her natural color. But I do want my shadows to be very nice and pigmented, which is why I opted for the lighter base. And I'm just going to apply with the 224 brush, and then I'm gonna take and blend out with the with the Beige Cosmetics V5 brush. And again, I'm tapping that base into her eye and I'm meeting it with the concealer. Now I'm going in with the PLouise eyeshadow palette. I'm using that warm brown shade. I'll have it listed down below, but it's equivalent to MAC's brown script, and I'm gonna use that in her crease. This is the MORPHE, no, this is SIGME. This is SIGME E40 brush, and I'm using that to tap the color into her crease area. I like to start in the center or middle of the eye first, just to really emphasize the round shape of the eye before bringing the color outwards. So if you notice, I'm tapping the color on first and then I bring the color up, but I'm still tapping. You want to tap because the base that you set underneath you did not dry. You didn't put any setting powder. The base is still wet. So when you're tapping the shadow on, you're actually setting the base. If you do like windshield wiping motions immediately, or try to swirl the color in, what you're gonna do is move the base underneath, and then that's how you get that patchy look that the shadows start to separate. So I know it's hard to do at first, but just try to tap that color on because it really makes a difference. Now I'm going into Juvias Warrior palette, and I'm using that dark cool tone brown, and I'm taking Morphe's M441 brush, and the same thing, I'm tapping that color in below that reddish brown, and I'm placing that in her crease area, but I'm not covering the first color I put down. I still want that first color to show. And again, you want to make sure you're following the round shape of the eye. And as I'm tapping now, I'm bringing that color up a little bit just so that it's a gradient meeting between the reddish brown and the dark brown. Now I'm going back in with that reddish brown color. I'm taking the edge of my brush and I'm using it to tap on the color. I kind of just want to meet those two shades and make it blend more. So I'm taking the edge of the brush and I'm doing that, and I'm doing tapping and circular motions. I'm tapping in the direction towards the darker color. I hope that makes sense. Try it out, you guys, and you'll see like what I'm saying. But I'm just tapping downwards basically. Now I'm going into the Saharan palette and I'm using that red tone, and I'm going to take a clean Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to put that right in between the dark brown and the light brown. This is the jelly in between my sandwich, so I'm going to tap that color in between. Then I'm just going back in with that lighter brown just a little bit, and I'm blending it all together. So this footage got lost somehow of me cutting the crease, but I do have detailed videos of how I cut the crease. So if you are new to my channel, I will link that down below. I'm using a brush that I customized and flattened myself. Again, I will link that video down below if you are new here, but this is the MAC 252S brush that I did cut and glue down so that I get a nice precise cut crease. If you have been on my channel before, you know that sometimes I use two brushes to get a nice, precise, sharp cut crease. But today it wasn't necessary because I got it really, really sharp the first time. And once I cut my crease, I'm just taking that same blending brush and I'm tapping off the extra product on the lid as well as blending it outwards. Because I don't close my cut creases, I like to smoke it out. I love the gradient look on the eye, so I barely really close my cut crease. I like to leave it open. And now I'm just taking my cut crease brush again, and I'm just bringing some of that product down. You want to wipe the extra off on your brush, whatever's left, and make sure you're just bringing the product down and tapping the extra base on that you use to cut the crease, because you don't want too much wetness on the lid when going in to add your colors. Going back into that Warrior palette and I'm using that beige color. And this is a clean cut crease brush, so this doesn't have any base on it. I use that first, and then I'm going to go in with a Morphe M433 brush to apply that color. And you guys, I get a lot of questions about the brushes that I use, but if you do watch all of my videos, I always use the same brushes in all of my videos. So I'm just going to put that out there. I literally use like 4 to 5 of the same brush every time. Anyway, I'm going in with my second shade, which is also from the Warrior palette. It's like a nice yellow gold, like a dark yellow gold. And I'm using that. I'm using the same two brushes I used for the beige. I'm using those to apply the gold color as well. And I'm just going to meet those two colors together. Now I'm going in with that dark brown and I'm going to start to smoke out the edge of my cut crease. I'm using the Morphe M44 brush. I mean, not M44, M441 brush. And again, you see me tapping that color. I'm tapping that color really lightly. This part can end up being very patchy and blotchy. It still even happens to me some days. So you just want to be really gentle. You want to really tap lightly. You don't have to apply pressure when you're using eyeshadows for something to come out super pigmented. It's okay to be gentle. The colors still are going to show up. And I'm just repeating the same steps with that reddish color. Look at that. Oh my god, it's so pretty. I love these colors. So I'm just continuing to smoke out that cut crease. I want it to be nice and dark and pigmented, so that is a nice gradient from light to dark. So now I'm going in with one of my new glitters that will be on my site within the next 2 weeks. This is going to be called a topper. So right now I have custom mixes on my glitter, which released on February 1st, and they're pretty much all sold out. So this is a topper, which is going to be a new line of glitters, which you just use to top off your eyeshadow look. So it won't be like completely covered in glitter, but you get like a nice sparkle effect. And I'm just using some lash glue, and I'm using a Morphe 224 brush to apply the glitter. And I'm just gonna apply it like less than halfway across on the lid. So moving on to foundation, I'm gonna be using 3 different foundations. I'm using NARS ZAMIE foundation. I'm gonna use that forehead, jawline, cheek area because, and keep in mind, we're matching her face, we're not matching her chest. I'm gonna go in with LANCOME 540 and MAC NW55, and I'm gonna use that to apply all over her face. Like I was saying, we're not matching her chest, we're matching her face. We don't want to make her face too dark though, because her chest is so light. But we also don't want to make her too light and match her chest, because we're not about to lighten up all this beautiful chocolate, okay? It's best to consult with your client and ask them what they want to do. If they want to match their chest, you know, do what they feel most comfortable with. But in most cases, like, this is how I handle the situation, unless they tell me I want to make my face lighter, I want to match my chest. Okay, so I'm just taking my Real Techniques brush, and I'm using that to apply the foundation. And also keep in mind, on my website I have online courses which are available for pre-sale, and they will be sent out on March 1st. And it's a foundation series, so it's different options for you. So yeah, about the website too, it will be linked down below. Glow Up Academy is my brand, and you can subscribe to the website to find out when the glitters will be back in stock. But for right now, I have pigments in stock, and you can check out the Instagram page, which will be down below, to see swatches of all the pigments and everything else. But the glitters will be back in like 2 weeks or so, I want to say. And by the way, if you're wondering, this is the same concealer shade that I used on her brows. This is the MAC NC50. Now I'm taking my foundation brush, and I'm going to blend out that concealer underneath her cheekbone, her chin, her forehead, and underneath her eyes. When you are blending the concealer, you really do want to take your time. Don't rush this part. It can be really tedious, but making sure that everything is nicely blended into the skin, it makes a difference in the end. So just really take your time with this and make sure it's smooth and blended. So this is Luscious by Lynn setting powder. You can use my code on the site for money off. And I'm using Deep Beige to set her under eye. I'm using a damp beauty blender sponge. The sponge is from Shop Miss A. I've spoke about before on my Instagram and on YouTube. I'll link it down below. I'm using that to set her under eye. So I'm pressing that loose powder underneath her eye. Not a lot. I just want to set it, right? Once it's set, I'm going to go in with RCMA No Color Powder, which you've seen on my channel before, with another chocolate model. And I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a good amount of that underneath her eyes to bake. And then I mixed those two colors and used it for her forehead, her chin, and a little bit under her eyes as well. Once that's, you know, cooked on her skin for a little bit, I'm going to take my foundation brush and I'm going to press that into her skin. Alright, so once we have all of that off, I'm just showing you guys how I smoke out my bottom lash line. I see this a lot and I just want to say something. When you're doing eyes and it's like heavy on the top, meaning you have a lot of colors, a lot of detail, glitter, smoky, whatever the case may be, you do want to add something on the bottom of the eye because you just want to balance out the eye. It just looks more appealing aesthetically when if there's something on the top, to put something on the bottom. It's kind of like algebra. Whatever you do to the left, you do to the right. You want to do the same thing when it comes to the eyes because it just balances the look out. All right, so moving on to contour, I'm using this new Black Radiance foundation stick, and that's their darkest shade, which as you can see, it's really, really dark. Great for contour. So I'm going to use that first to contour her nose, and I'm just using a small eyeshadow brush. I'm not huge on nose contour. I like to define the bridge of the nose, but I don't like to like make noses super small. Anyway, I'm taking my Real Techniques cheek brush and I'm using that to blend out the contour on her cheek area as well as her jawline. You don't want to forget that jawline, make it nice and chiseled, you know. Now I'm going back into the Juvias Warrior palette. So we're doing multi-use today, you guys, and that's what I'm going to use to contour her. And you want to use this very lightly because on the eyes we can see how dark this shadow can get. So you want to very lightly use this shadow to contour her cheeks. And you want to contour upwards and outwards. You never really want to contour down. You want to lift the face up. So if you contour down, you're going to bring her cheeks down. So now I'm going back into the Saharan palette and I'm using that like reddish brownish color. And I'm going to use that as a bronzer on her cheeks, just to warm up her skin. Now we're moving on to the glitter underneath the eyes. I get a lot of questions about this. I use an angled eyeliner or eyebrow brush. I apply the glue with this brush and I apply the glitter. That's all I do, you guys. So I just wanted to show you guys like just how sparkly this glitter is. We all know like on cameras like these it's really hard to capture the sparkle, but her eyes are sparkling. But anyway, I'm just gonna spray her face down with this Art Natural setting spray that I've been talking about. It's like a holy grail. It's like $8. So you're gonna saturate her face down, honey. And this is what she's looking like so far. Now I'm going in with this BECCA blush, which is this beautiful rosy color. Gorgeous on my chocolate girls. Don't be afraid of blush. I can't live without blush. Like I love blush. Like we have blush for a reason. Don't be scared to blush your face, blush your client's face. Like it's all about the right color and the right amount. And I love blushes that have like a nice sheen in them. Like it just gives the face a healthy, rosy glow. Anyway, moving on to the lips. I'm using like a dark shade and like a peachy shade kind of to create the color I was going for, and I'm just using a small concealer brush to blend those colors in together. Then I'm going in with a dark lip liner. I switched over to Night Moth by MAC to line her lips. Now we're going in with my highlighter from Glow Up Academy. This is in the shade Glow Sis. And I wanted a shade for my chocolate girls that give the same effect that like a white gold or icy gold would give for a lighter girl without looking ashy. So kind of like Amarizi, like how it's like that beautiful white gold color. I wanted that same effect on darker skinned girls without looking ashy. So that's what Glow Sis is. It's like a cool tone highlight. Anyway, this is the completed look, you guys. Tell me what you guys think. Look how cute she is. Oh my god, this is so like prom or birthday or date night. It's all up to you, but I think I'm gonna do like a prom series. But yeah, you guys know I had to come through with the phone footage. So this is in my makeup room with all of my box lights and my ring light. That's what it's looking like. She looks beautiful in chocolate. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for sticking with me through my little break. And if you made it this far in the video, you are a real one. A real one. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. I love you guys. For real. Bye.